We often talk about the strategies that we want to put into place in order to hit our financial goals. But one of the things we rarely ever discuss is the price that you have to pay to achieve financial success. So in today's video, I'm going to be walking you through some of the things that you should be thinking about, some of the things that you need to be aware of as you start your financial success story. Now, look, it's going to take a mindset shift, right? We've done things one way our entire lives. So in order to actually figure out what you need to do in order to hit your goal is you have to change your mindset. I often equate this to someone that wants to lose 20 or 25 pounds. You know that if you want to lose that weight, there's certain food that you have to give up. You got to give up the pizza. You got to give up the ice cream. You got to give up the sweets, or else you're just not going to hit your goals. And if you want to achieve financial success, you have to go on what I will call a financial diet. You got to get rid of all of the spending that you're doing that's just weighing you down. And if you don't, just like that person that wants to lose 25 pounds, you're not going to see any success. Look, we're taught from a young age how to spend money and how to save money. We are rarely ever taught how to multiply our money. So in order to actually figure out what you need to do to break that cycle is you have to have a change in how you approach things, which is ultimately a change in your mindset. Now, once you change your mindset, the very next thing that you're going to want to do, and this is probably one of the most important things, is you have to stop participating in the victim Olympics. The victim Olympics is everything that's gone wrong up to this point in your life is somebody else's fault. You had nothing to do with it. And the reason that you can't get ahead is because of somebody else. It's not because of your lack of hustle, your lack of drive. It's somebody else's fault. Now, look, I get it. We all have something that has happened in our lives that has been a setback for us. You could talk to most people on an average day, and they can give you their story of how life has not always gone their way. But one thing that I always say is, okay, so that happened. Something happened in your life. It didn't go your way. Now, what are you going to do about it? How are you going to overcome that? I don't care if it's because of the color of your skin. It's because of your gender. It's because of your religion. If you come to me and you're telling me that that's why you can't get ahead financially, I'm not going to listen. That might be harsh, but on my channel, we don't make excuses. We don't make excuses. Let's just say that somebody doesn't like you because of the color of your skin or because, you're a woman. Okay. All right. That's fine. So what are you going to do? How are you going to overcome that obstacle to hit your financial goals? Look, I believe that there's not a single person or a thing that's out there that can prevent me from hitting my goals other than myself. So one of the things that you have to make sure that you're able to come to grips with, if you participate in the Victim Olympics, you got to hang up those medals and shut the door and close that chapter on your life. The third thing that you need to be aware of that is going to occur as you start this financial success journey is you're going to have that crab in the bucket mentality. And that is essentially the people that know you best are going to start to notice that you're moving different. They're going to start to notice that you're thinking different. You're not going to be interested in doing all of the things that you used to do because your time is consumed with hitting your goals. So they're going to start trying to derail you and move you off your spot. Now, it's really important for you to understand that not everybody wants to take this financial journey with you. I mentioned that it's a lonely journey and it's a lonely process. And to me, I'm okay with that. I've been a loner my entire life, and I've never been the type of person that has to have people around me. I just like to do my thing. But it's important if you're somebody that's used to having groups of people with you. You've got all of these people that you've always went out with and hung out with and went to the club with, and now you're moving a little bit different. There's going to be some hard feelings with those people, right? Because you're not going to be moving in that same way. And people are going to look at you and they're going to think that you're moving different. They're going to think that you think they're better than them. And that's simply not the case. You're just focused on hitting your goals. But again, it's a lonely process in order to hit your goals, whether that's financial or career. It's a lonely process. The next thing that you need to be aware of and focused on is that the life that you currently live now, where you go out every single day, you go and you just buy things, you spend money, you're not worried about, what a budget looks like and investing or saving or doing any of that. This is going to be something that's going to be at the front of your mind at all times, right? So I'll go back to the analogy that I made earlier in the video about somebody losing weight, right? If you're looking to lose weight, you go out to eat, you're trying to look on that menu to see like, what's the best option for me in order to maintain my diet? Because just because I came out, I don't want to wreck my diet. It's going to be the same thing from a financial perspective. Whenever you go out, you're going to be like, okay, well, what can I do here with this money that I've allocated to myself for this month in order to be able to kind of hang out or do what you need to do without going over your financial diet, if that makes sense. That's going to be something that starts to consume you. And once you get into the habit, it's hard to break it. I was reading a book that I would recommend to anyone called Atomic Habits by James Clear. Now, in this book is a phenomenal read. This book talks about how bad habits are created, how to identify those bad habits, and then what you can do in order to turn those bad habits into good habits. So whenever we form a habit just by doing something repetitively, and it just becomes second nature and we don't think about it, it's really hard to break it. And that's what's going to happen once you actually start down the path of your financial diet and get on your way to financial success. There's just going to be habits that you pick up that you're not really going to be aware of, and it's going to be hard to break. And that's a good thing. The next thing that you need to be aware of is that your relatability factor seems to go down. Look, whenever I was younger, I had a crew of people that I always hung out with. And I still keep up with these people to this day. Not everybody. There's some that I'm closer with and some that I'm not. And it's not because we fell out. It's just, I'm in my 40s now. I'm 45, going to be 46 years old this year. And everybody's doing their own thing. But whenever I speak to these people about the things that we're interested in, things that we're doing, it's hard for them to relate to what I'm doing. And I'm not saying that, to shit on those people. It's just that the things that I'm interested in and the things that I'm focused on, most people are not interested in those things. And you're going to understand that and find that out as you continue down your path, right? There's going to be conversations that you want to have with people, and they're just not going to understand your approach and why you're doing things the way that you're doing them. And that's okay. That's not a bad thing, but it's just going to happen. And you need to be aware of that because most people are not dialed in financially. They're just not. They just know to get their paycheck, spend their money, buy things, and worry about the future later. Whereas on this channel, we talk about financial planning, getting to the bag, and being able to shut it down and retire well before most of the people in the general public. See, I'm not looking to be working in my 60s and having a mortgage and having all this debt that I've got to pay off, and I'm in my 60s. That's just not going to happen. That's not me. So we just talked about relatability, and leave a comment down below. Let me know. You've started your financial journey. Is any of the things that I'm talking about, have any of these things happened to you up to this point? If so, leave a comment down below and let me know. The very next thing that you need to be aware of is you may develop a savior complex. And what I mean by that is you're looking to be the guy that is always there to help people out that are struggling or maybe just didn't make the right decisions. And at first that may seem okay, that seems fine. But as time goes on and you're continuously that person that has to bail people out or people think they can depend on to help them out, then that really becomes a problem. And what that ultimately can do is damage relationships. I learned a long time ago, once you start to do well financially, some people are gonna resent you. Some people are gonna have an expectation that what you have is now what they have. And that's just something that comes with the territory and something that you need to be aware of. And once you reach your financial goal, your financial destination, you often start to be a little bit more aware of your surroundings and maybe a little bit more skeptical of people's intentions of you. And that's probably the biggest downside to this because you're always wondering if somebody's trying to get over on you, somebody's trying to hustle you. And you could potentially lose sight on the true intentions that some people have. Like I said at the beginning of the video, the path to financial success is often a journey that you have to take on your own. And once you understand that, and you understand the things that are going to be coming your way as you go down this journey, you're going to be well positioned to handle anything that comes your way. Now, look, there's trade-offs that we have to make in life. And in order to actually hit your goals, and it doesn't have to be financial, there's things that you're going to have to sacrifice. And the question is, are your goals worth the sacrifice?